didn't get organized right from the beginning. And when I decided to get organized, I had a lot of file folders, which I thought were organized. And then I had several boxes full of just papers. And I thought I'd been a pretty good girl by writing dates on everything. Well, it turned out that wasn't enough because I failed on many accounts to write the source of the information. Sure, it looked like it was a photocopy, of course. It was genuine. It wasn't my handwriting. But if I didn't write down the actual source of that, it's really no use. So in many cases, I've had to backtrack and redo. And then other times, I'll backtrack and I'll find the very same thing I already had and I put in a different place. So I've gotten smarter over the years about being more methodical about keeping those records. So one of the things I started doing a couple years ago was I've started, and a lot of people use these 3-ring binders. Okay? So I now have 20 binders with a different surname on the end of each. Okay, so this is one of my ancestors. And I also have 2 of them filled with old maps. One for my maternal side and one for my paternal side. And what I do with these is, and you'll do your own, or those of you who are experienced are doing your own. So I now invest in all these dividers, or I make dividers, so that I can have one for Hannah, and I can have a section for Benjamin, and I can have a section for each one of their children, even though they're not my ancestors. I've now gone off into all these tangents because anybody that's sort of related to me has a file. Okay? But I didn't used to have those. Now I have one for Gertrude and Diana and Hannah and Henry and the other Henry and Garrett and Benjamin and Jane. And so in each one of those sections I can put their 4-family tree like Carol was showing you. I can put all the news, I put every newspaper clipping that I've dug up because I do a lot of newspaper work. I put in any card party that they had, any prenuptials, any baby showers, because I want to know everything. I'm at that point where I want to know everything about everybody. Second marriages, third marriages, divorces, illnesses that are in the paper, because I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been compiling family group sheets and charts. I've done a great big fan chart now of what everybody died of. And because I found that we have tremendous heart disease in all of my relatives. And I need to track that. I just need to do that. So I have to do that not just through death certificates, but in the olden days, if you have been in the newspapers, they give you every detail about everybody's illness and about everybody's death. So I want all that stuff, and I do it, and I have it in my 3-ring binders. The other thing, you don't have to pursue this hobby in isolation, and you don't have to do it alone. A lot of us have found that we have nobody else in our family who gives a hoot. And you send out these wonderful letters to everybody, like a lot of us have done, saying, I'm doing this now, and I'd really like to know more about your parents or your grandparents, and what were their jobs, or when did they get married, and you get this back from everybody. You get 0 back. So you say, okay, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to do this by myself. But there are other people who will help. And you know, how many people are going to be doing genealogy outside of Maine? Okay, that's at least half. Okay. And so you know,
Native American too.
there are other people, and this is where the internet comes in really handy, because there are all these message boards that you can spend your life doing all those message boards. I hardly do any anymore, but once in a while I go looking to see if anybody's posted something, because they're looking for, anyway, so just in January, I found this Martha person that I mentioned who married Hiram Dayton. Her mother was the woman who was married to Josiah before my great-grandmother married him. My great-grandmother was wife number 3. So Martha is sort of semi-related to me. Okay? And I went off on a tangent in January, and I found by accident the people who live in Florida who are the 4th Marthas, and each one of them named a daughter Martha. So Martha and this wonderful guy named Jim Owen, who she's married to, they've been doing their genealogy. They have Josiah's original Bible from 1812. And so they scanned and it's a Bible with the writing in it.
Yeah.
So he, this wonderful guy named Jim, scanned all these images for me so that I now have some proof that he had 3 wives, and when the first 2 died, and then the 3rd one after Josiah died, that's when my great-grandfather, whose name got all muddled up, who I couldn't find for long, then he married her a year after this Josiah died. And anyway, it gets really complicated, but to find these people because of a posting on the internet that I followed up with, and then so what the fun thing about this is also, I don't want to sound just like Brick Wallace, so these folks have, this wonderful Jim has really not pursued Martha's genealogy. He's been so busy doing his. So I said, in exchange for all these scans and all this wonderfulness he was giving me in emails, I sent them a lot of information about the original Martha and Hiram that they've never investigated. And they're so grateful. So we're now friends forever. And we're semi-related. But that's the fun thing, is you find somebody who has something and then you share. And you exchange and you become friends. And anyway, there's a lot of that. So you don't have to do it alone. Go to some workshops, go to other things like this. They're becoming more popular. Go to a little conference if you can. I almost went to the one down in Worcester. Last weekend or this coming weekend? This coming weekend in Worcester. And then I decided, I don't think I want to use up that much gas just to go down. And anyway, another time I might have.
When you say you posted, was it on Ancestry.com? or where?
I'd have to look, see, I'd have to look that up.
Are there other?
Oh,
Roots Web?
lots of them.
Roots Web?
Roots Web.
It's
Yeah.
free, where Ancestry you pay.
And there's Gen Web, and there's all kinds. Because I have some Polish ancestry, so I go to 2 different Polish society web pages and I just went, Sunday night I went, because I hadn't gone for several weeks, to read what everybody was writing about and who's looking for what, and you know, there's lots of them out there. There's lots of them out there. So and some of that you have to explore on your own. I've had a couple of friends and a couple of acquaintances who say, could you come over Saturday and do my genealogy?
Well, you're sleeping back.
It's not something you just do, it's something you start, and then, like I said, it sort of takes over your life, because you can't stop. You want to know why, you know. And I've got one, my grandfather's brother Adam, who I've connected to some of the grandchildren now in Chicago, not in person, but we talk on the phone and email. Adam had 4 children, right? Wrong. Since I've gone through the newspapers, and now that the Cook County vital records are online from the Cook County Clerk's office, these are the real things, I found all 10 children, including the 6 that died as young children. Those distant cousins of mine don't even know that Margaret and Adam had that many children. And they don't care, actually. They're not interested, because I send them things and they could care less. I care. So you can find out more than what people can tell you, even though that's such a good start, is you get started with what they tell you, and then you go with it. Anything else I want to say? Write notes on everything. The date you did something, where you got it from, who told you. Did I miss anything?
Good advice, good advice.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say, because in the newspaper article it mentioned software for genealogy, and I just want to mention what I use, because they all will give you family group sheets, and they all have different ways of you inputting your information. From whenever I started, and I don't know why it was, I started with PATH, a personal ancestry file that you get free from the Mormon Church or LDS. I don't know, somebody must have recommended to me that it was easy or good or whatever, and so I've been using it and I've upgraded it, and it's the only one I know. So when I do a family group record, like I did this one for you today, this is one of my August Friedrich, one of my great-great-grandfathers. So, because I've scanned pictures in there, this will let me, some of them I have just show all the gravestones that I've been able to get photos of, because I don't have any picture of the real person. So what I like about that is it lets me put all of that, and it lets me put their little picture right by them. And I'm sure all the others do too, I don't know, because this is the only one I use. So I print these out from time to time, and I keep changing information. And of course, you already now know that I back up everything obsessively.
Well, thank you.
Questions?
Are there questions? Are there any questions? Sorry. This gentleman.
That's amazing, but just out of curiosity, what's going to happen if you die tomorrow and nobody looks in your washing machine?
Well, you guys now all know. I'm counting on you.
And this will be on Facebook.
And it'll be a video, yeah, all done.
I had a question about the software that you use. Do you pay for that? Is it something, a program that you buy?
Theirs you didn't buy, you just initially sent for it. And they send you, I don't know, I must have had a CD to start. And then I've since updated, because they let you know when there's a new version, and you just go in and it updated to version 5 or something. What did happen,
Who was that?
that was the personal ancestral file, the PAF from the LDS Church. Okay.
And is that now called Family Maker?
No, that's
Family
a
Tree
whole
Maker?
different that's a whole different company.
But Family Tree Maker will read personal.
I don't know. I've never used that. What I did get a notice from PATH maybe 2 years ago was that they had added something that would let you print more fancy things. And if you sent in your $5 or did it through PayPal or credit card or whatever, they'd send you a new CD. So I did, because I wanted to print fancy things, and I didn't bring this big thing with me because I thought it would be raining again. But you know what a fan chart is, right? Well, it now will print fan charts for me, because I have this extra printer edition that they sent. But $5 I could spring for that. But everything else is free. And the other thing I like about them, and I can't speak about any other software, is they do have an 800 number, and I have called a couple of times. In fact, I called in the fall because I couldn't make it fix a marriage that I had screwed up. I had put the wrong person married to the wrong person, and I could not get it to delete and fix it. So I called them, and they were the most wonderful. Every time, I've only called them like 4 or 5 times ever.
Put them in line.
And they know their stuff, and they can walk you right through. And then, the last time I called them, then they sent me an email. I didn't ask them to, they had my email.